Hello everybody. Today we are looking at reconstitution of non-injectable solutions. I'm not going to be able to talk. It's the second part of chapter 12 in our dosage calculation textbooks, and it's section 7.3 in our HAWKS. So let's look at our first question. Okay, it's actually question 2 on our slides, but it says the physician orders 1/3 strength of Sestical, 900 milliliters by mouth every 4 hours. What is the amount of solute for the first feeding of this order? Notice this question is asking for the first feeding of this order. And we want it as 1/3 strength. Okay, so remember, with the strength, the top number is, in this case, 1 part of our solute, and then the bottom number is our three total parts, which is our solution. And so how many parts of solvent would we need? We do 3 minus 1, we're going to get 2. The solute and the solvent have to add to be the total parts. So solute plus solvent equals solution. Okay, so the number of parts of solute plus the number of parts of solvent is our solution. Our solute is like our doctor's order. Whatever he's ordered Sestical in this problem, so our solute would be our Sestical. Our solvent is our diluent. In this case, it would be water, or sterile water, because we're mixing it with Sestical, which is a formula. And then our solution is our total amount of formula. In this case, anyway. Okay, so to find the amount of Sestical, the 1/3 strength, how much Sestical, how much solute are we going to need? This 900 milliliters is our solution for 1 feeding. Okay, so the doctor always orders for 1 feeding, not for the total order. So they're getting 1/3 strength of Sestical, which is 900 milliliters by mouth every 4 hours. So I'm going to take 1/3, which is my strength, times my solution, in this case 900 milliliters. So strength times solution, and generally you want your solution in milliliters. And that will give me my solute. So 900, 1 times 9 is 900, 3 times 1 is 3, so 900 divided by 3 gives me 300 milliliters of solute. So don't overthink these. They're not that complicated. You just got to be able to read them and understand. Now this wants to know what is the amount of solvent. So we can do the strength times our, I don't want to use the strength, let's do it this way. I know that my total solution, I know what my total solution is, it's the 900 milliliters. And I'll subtract my solute, that's going to give me my solvent. So if my solution is 900 milliliters, we know from the previous slide that our solute is 300 milliliters. Then I know my solvent is 600 milliliters. So I'm going to add 600 milliliters of water to my solution. For the next one, the last part, it's what's the total amount of solution for the first feeding. Well, this one's super easy because they gave us the amount. It's 900 milliliters of solution. Again, this is just for 1 feeding, but that's all they're asking for. So we really find our solution in our very first question. when we're looking for how much solute we're going to need. All right, let's look at the next question. The physician orders 3/4 strength of isomil, 20 fluid ounces, every 4 hours for 24 hours. What is the required amount of solute in milliliters for this order? So notice this one is for this order, not just for one feeding. So how many feedings do I have? If I take, of course, for 24 hours divided by my every 4 hours, I get 6 feedings. So my 20 fluid ounces, this is for one feeding. Now we can do this 2 different ways. I can take and multiply this by 6 and then convert it to milliliters. For me, it's easier to convert my 20 fluid ounces to milliliters first. So I know in 1 ounce, there's 30 milliliters. So I'm going to take my 20 fluid ounces, I'm going to multiply by 30 milliliters, and I'm going to get 600 milliliters. But this is one feeding. So I need 6 feedings out for the order. So take your 600 milliliters, multiply it by 6, you get 3,600 milliliters for the order. Now, this is my total solution. I haven't found my solute yet. This is my total solution. So to find my solute, however you say that, I know it's 3/4 strength. So I'm going to take my 3/4 times my total solution of 3,600, and I'm going to end up with 2,700 milliliters solute for the order. So that's for the 24-hour period. So 2,700 milliliters. So sometimes when it's for the order, it's easier to find your total solution for the whole number, or for the total number of feedings, and then use that number to find the total amount of solute. You're going to get the same answer if you do it a different way. All right, so this next part of the question is, what's the required amount of solvent? So remember I told you that if you take your total solution, subtract your solute, that's going to equal your solvent. And again, it's for this order. So my total solution for the order was 3,600 milliliters. My solute was 2,700 milliliters. So 3,600 minus the 2,700 gives me 900 milliliters of solvent for the order. All right, the last part of this question is, what is the total amount of solution? We've already found that, so we just have to plug this one in. And our total amount of solution was the 3,600 milliliters. Again, don't overthink these. Take these step by step, and it makes it so much easier. All right. All right, so the physician orders 2/3 strength Ensure, 120 milliliters every 2 hours via NG tube times 3 feedings. So we're only looking for the 3 feedings in this one. And I asked for the total milliliters of solute for all feedings. All feedings is my 3 feedings. So I know I have 120 milliliters of solution, and I know it's 2/3 strength. So I'm going to take 2/3 times my 120 milliliters. I'm doing it different this time than I did the way before. So 2 times 120 is 240, divided by 3. is 80. So I need 80 milliliters of solute, and that's for one feeding. Because he always orders it per feeding. If I make my 80 milliliters, multiply it times my 3 feedings, I get 240 milliliters of solute, however you say that word. And that's for all feedings. Now, if I had taken the 120, multiplied it by the 3 feedings, and then taken that answer, I would have still got 240 milliliters of solute. Okay, let's look at the next part. How many milliliters of solvent are needed? This is where I kind of screwed up. Okay, 120 milliliters for one feeding. So if I take 120 milliliters times my 3 feedings, I get 360 milliliters for the whole 3 feedings. Again, this is my solution. I want to know how much solvent. So if I take my total solution minus my solvent, or my solute, then I am going to get my solvent, which is 120 milliliters. So solution minus solute and equals my solvent. So 120 milliliters of solvent for all 3 feedings. Again, this last one, same question, third part, is the total amount of solution, and we just found that, 360 milliliters. You take your 120 milliliters per feeding times your 3 feedings, and you get your 360 milliliters. So this 360 is my total amount of solution that I've needed. Okay. And our last question. The physician orders 1/4 strength of isomil, 6 fluid ounces by mouth every 4 hours for 12 hours. What is the amount of solute in milliliters for this order? Okay, notice this order is 12 hours this time. So how many feedings do I have in 12 hours? I do it the same way I would if it was 24, except I'm using 12. So 12 hours divided by every 4 hours gives me 3 feedings. And this time I'm going to find my total solution. I know I have 6 fluid ounces. I'm going to convert it to milliliters, so I'm going to multiply it by 30 milliliters, because there's 30 milliliters per ounce. So 6 times 30 is 180 milliliters, and that again is for the total. No, that is for one feeding. Then I want to take my 180 milliliters times 3 for all 3 feedings, and I get 540 milliliters for 3 feedings. 3 feedings. So this is my total solution. So what is the amount of my solute? It's 1/4 strength, so I'm doing 1/4 times my 540 milliliters. So 540 divided by 4 is 135. So I need 135 milliliters of solute. In this case, it's my isomil. That's part 1. Now part 2 of the same question is what's the amount of solvent? So again, solution minus solute equals solvent. My solution is 540 milliliters. My solute was 135 milliliters. That's what we just found. So 540 minus 135 and I'm going to get 405 milliliters of solvents in it. Whatever my solvent is, probably water. So that's how much solvent I need. And then part 3, what's the total amount of solution? Well, that's the amount we found in part 1. That's our 540 milliliters for all 3 feedings. Remember, we took our 6 fluid ounces, multiplied it by 30 milliliters per ounce. That got us 180 milliliters. That's 1 feeding. Multiply that by 3 feedings. I'm going to get 540 milliliters. I hope this has helped, and I will see you in class.